everybody, and welcome to another Doctor Who review. This time, another 12th Doctor story is getting reviewed. It's The Woman Who Lived. So this review follows up from review 100, The Girl Who Died, and it is still the continuing story of Ashildr, as she now calls herself, Me, played by Maisie Williams. The Doctor is tracking an alien piece of tech, which happens to be called the Eye of Horus, and happens to stumble across a highwayman besieging a coach. In the case that's in the chest at the back of the coach is the amulet that they're looking for, but the highwayman happens to be Ashildr, or Me. Now, Ashildr was saved by the Doctor with an immortal chip put into her head over 800 years before, during the Viking times. And she has survived all this time. She's had multiple lives and even had attempt to have children, but they died in the Black Plague, which is really a shame, the Black Death rather. And she's also had to write most of the stuff down that's happened to her because in journals, because her memory can't be retained 800 years worth of memories. And she pleads with the Doctor throughout most of the story to take her with him. But the Doctor keeps refusing, and it's revealed in the end the reason for that is that the Doctor doesn't think Ashildr can survive with him because they're two peas in the pod effectively, and they wouldn't survive off each other. And Ashildr needs people around her who are a bit more fleeting to understand the beauty of immortality and the beauty of life. Because when you're immortal, you don't get the chance to do that. What happens is Ashildr is looking for the same amulet as the Doctor is. Ashildr needs it to help an alien friend that she's picked up, Leonardus, an alien from a distant galaxy. And this amulet opens up a different reality, a different portal. And it will allow her to travel the universe, or so she's been promised by Leonardus. The Doctor happens to come across with Lady Me, as she's now called. She happens to come across a local thief called Sam Swift, and he ends up getting caught and sent for hanging. The eye only works when somebody dies, and apart from the gallows humour that Sam Swift tries to get himself out of the way, the Doctor manages to save Sam Swift from hanging by using a psychic paper to say that Cromwell has allowed, Oliver Cromwell has allowed, because it's 1651, Oliver Cromwell has pardoned Sam Swift. Unfortunately, Me decides to take matters in his own hands and pops the amulet onto Sam's chest, and his life force opens the portal. The only way to save everybody, when Ashildr realises that Leonardus was tricked her, and actually his race were going to come through and destroy the Earth, the second chip the Doctor gave her last time was used in Sam Swift's head, and that revived him, kept him alive, and closed the portal. So Me now has Sam Swift as the second person, who's effectively immortal. Whether they stay together, that's open for debate. But it looks like maybe that wasn't the case later in the stories we see later on. Spoilers. Maybe he'll come back in the future. You never know. But it's an interesting plot line overall. This is a kind of companion-light story, really, in that respect. Clara makes an appearance near the end. Just a fleeting appearance. She's doing her teaching, and it utilises an excuse for her not to be in the TARDIS, and the Doctor is travelling technically alone in this one. So let's get into the cast and go through some of the main characters that we see in this story. We have, of course, the Doctor, played by Peter Capaldi. It's interesting having the dynamic there of Me, because it shows the darker side of the Doctor, the side of the Doctor where he shows why he runs away and why it's so hurtful to stay, and the lives, and how he wants to keep life going by going out other places. And it's interesting having that side of the character there. And Capaldi and Maisie Williams work quite well together as a team. And this is where the Doctor starts to find himself in his incarnation, and that's quite apparent through most of the story. It really is quite good. I quite like the way Capaldi plays it here. It is the Doctor. There is that worldly, outer worldly feeling that he has about him. But it's nice to have the emotion in the background and the fear that the Doctor seems to have of losing people, and he tries to sympathise and get Ashilda to see that, or me to see that, as she calls herself now. It's interesting how he's trying to get her to understand that it's better the life she leads than not the one she wants to have, and that travelling with him isn't going to make much difference. And the way the character is played by Capaldi, it is great. 12th Doctor fare. It's halfway through his second season. He's really got into the role, and I do like the way the 12th Doctor's coming out here. The fun, whimsical, nutty professor is still to come, but there's a lot of darkness to come in this 12th Doctor still. In the rest of the season, so one of the best stories ever is still to be reviewed, and you never know, it might be the first five TARDISes, but we'll get to that as we get there. But ultimately, yeah, I do like the way Capaldi plays this, and yeah, I like the way the Doctor's portrayed. It's nice to have Maisie Williams have a slightly different characterization than this plucky girl that she was in The Girl Who Died, and the interesting development of Ashilda stroke me that we have in this story. It's played very well. No, I did make a correction last time. I did say that Maisie Williams was about 2021. She's not. She's only 17 in there when she's playing these. So it's really a lot of gravitas for the role that she's been given. And it works well. It really does work out quite well. And it's really well played by her as well. It's a good, strong performance she plays here. She gives the emotion she needs when she has to. When she's pleading with the Doctor and her disdain and her scolding of him at one point when the Doctor again refuses, and she pleads a few times for him to take her with him. It's really nice to see the dynamic between the two, and it's quite fun and quite emotional at times the way it's played. It is played well done by Maisie Williams, and I think she has a better chance to flex her muscles in this one when Clara's not about, and it's nice to have that element. We then got a brief opinion with Jenna Coleman, not much really to say. She nails the line she gets. The bond between the Doctor and Clara is shown near the end, where she says, "I missed you, old man," so that's quite cool. And then we've got a couple of the guests cast here. The only two that make a difference here are Rufus Hound as Sam Swift, although it's really a cameo, and he's like a rogue that is effectively saved and becomes immortal, but he's effectively a cameo role. Bit of a shame though, because Rufus Hound's actually very good as known as the monk in the Big Finish audio, so there's Big Finish stuff I've got to do with him included very soon. But Rufus Hound has a small role here as Sam Swift, plays a kind of Jack the Lad thief, which works well for what he's got. And then we've got, and I'm going to butcher this, Arion Bakare, who plays Leandro, the alien, who is an alien from Delta Leonis. It's nice makeup. It's Monster of the Week. It works well. This kind of lion type character, this kind of feline type character. It's quite cool. It's quite nice. I quite like it, and it's played okay. He is just a big bad. He doesn't get too much to say or do. He obviously has an ulterior motive, and this is the downside sometimes to some of the 45-minute episodes. You're trying to cram so much in, and sometimes it doesn't quite work the way you want it to. But it is well played, and I do like the way it's portrayed here, and it is a good enough enemy to justify the story. But it's kind of like the week before with the one who plays Odin. It's quite interesting. But yeah, it's fun, more or less. It is quite good. The direction is carried on by Ed Bazalgette. He had good filming last time. I like the darkness that's in this one. It's very difficult to see if you've got bright light going down the side of you. But I like the way it's all quite dark and damp and murky for most of the story, because it's mostly set at night, and the way it's played on the night shoot actually works quite well. I quite like it. I think it's quite fun, and it makes for a good story overall to watch. It's quite atmospheric, and the direction from Ed Bazalgette is just as good as it was with the story before of the woman who died, or the girl who died rather. So it's still a fun story to see. Catherine Trigana is writing this one, so I think it needs a kind of woman's touch to give the woman's feelings here, especially with the section with the Black Death and me losing her children, and the hate of that, and the emotion off the back of that. It really does work, and I love the writing for that. It's certainly better having that point of view, I think, for this one, and it makes for a more thorough, deeper story between the two leads in this, and gives a better banter relationship between the two of them, because it's quite clear that Mia's going to be part of the arc later in the year We don't know exactly what at this point, but they're obviously setting her up to come back, and they do. She does come back, but it's nice to see the way the character is developing into this new dynamic that the Doctor has, and the whole end scene with the Doctor and me, whether she says, "I need to be there to help pick up the pieces of the things you leave once you fix things," and she wants to do it as a friend more than an enemy. It's interesting how that all works. I think the writing's quite well. I love the fact that Me has kind of become cold and fed up and bored and wants to travel the world, and the person that she hopes can do that, the Doctor, is not allowing to. And that whole theme for all the way through, I think that's genuine, and it comes across quite genuine the way it's written. It's interesting to get that female point of view, and I think it works with Catherine Tregenna writing for that, because I think it needed it. I don't think that Jamie Matheson, Stephen Moffat could do a character as deep as that as a man than the female perspective that Catherine Tregenna gives to the story, and I quite like the way it's portrayed because of that. The music of Murray Gold, it complements. It isn't bombastic. It isn't over the top. That's quite rare for late Murray Gold of this era. So the bombastic orchestral stuff isn't there at the moment. Isn't there in this story, which is nice, and it's nice to have that kind of relevance change a little bit. It's nice to have the music just underscoring it and not overtaking it. Which some of Murray Gold's later scores do. This one doesn't. It's a nice underlying theme, and it does actually help complement the story. Some of the bits I do like about it, I like the banter. I like the banter at the beginning with the highway siege, with the Doctor and what was then called the Nightmare, but there was obviously Me with a different voice. I love the whole back and forth, that the banter that goes on. The rapport between the two of them is good across the whole police piece. It's actually quite well done. So the idea that Me doesn't have a memory of 800 years, she has to write it all down, is interesting. There's a reference to the Visitation in this one, because it's 1651 the story's set in. The Doctor warns of another plague coming up in London, and a great fire. Me hopes that she starts it. The Doctor says, no, that's pterodactyls. Nice link to the Visitation there. Quite relevant. I quite like it. It was a throwaway line, but it's a nice little Easter egg for Doctor Who fans to know about that, which is really cool. The scene where they're trying to steal the amulet from the house, I quite like that, because it's quite fun. There's a little bit of comedy element to it there. Them creeping around the house, the Doctor using the sonic sunglasses to light a candle, but Me trying to lead, and this kind of banter and play on who's the leader of this. It works quite well. I quite like that little banter. Me is actually quite a good fighter, quick in her brains. She proves that she's very good at archery and things like that. 6 hours a minute, that's quite a lot for somebody to do. And she was an Agincourt. She fought well. She was piercing armour left, right and centre. It was quite impressive with her skills, and the skills are showed later on when Sam Swift tries to ambush her in the middle of the forest. She overpowers all him and his cronies, and it's quite good, the wit that happens between them all. I think it's really well done. The other bit I think is interesting is the end story. It's quite rushed at the end, this one. This whole fact that Sam Swift is going to get hanged, his death is going to open the rift, the way the rift is fixed is rather quite rushed. I'm wondering if maybe an extra 5 minutes would have paced it out well enough for it to make it work better. And I think this is the thing sometimes when you try and do 45 minutes and get the quick pacing, sometimes the nuances are missed. And this is part of the reason possibly why I like some of the classic series more than with some of the longer form stories than I do some of the new series. However, this one I do like quite well. It's quite fun. It's not any worse than The Girl Who Died. It's not any better. It's the same ratings, the same thinking. And for that, I'm going to give it 3.5 TARDISes out of 5. Okay, let's see how The Woman Who Lived fits in with the rest of the Capaldi reviews I've done so far, and also how it fits in with the rest of the stories I've reviewed so far as well. So, The Woman Who Lived, 3.5 TARDIS out of 5, which sits in with Listen, Knock Knock, The Caretaker, and of course The Girl Who Died. At the bottom is still Sleep No More, with 2.5 TARDIS out of 5, and at the top is Dark Water, Death and Heaven, with 4 TARDISes out of 5. Overall, Sleep No More is joined by Time Lash with 2.5 TARDIS out of 5, and at the top, and there's still 6 stories with 4.5 TARDIS out of 5. They are The Happiness Patrol, Inferno, The Day of the Doctor, The Caves of Androzani, The Tomb of the Cybermen, and Dalek. That's it from me for this Doctor Who review. Tell me what you think about The Woman Who Lived. Leave a comment down below. Did you like it? Leave a comment down below. Are you not so fussed about it? Leave a comment down below. And if you like this video, please like it, share it with the hashtag teamstructor. And if you like the channel as a whole, please hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you know when a new video comes out. General new video every Sunday at 4 PM GMT. The next video is actually Attack of the Cybermen, review 102, on Wednesday at 6 PM GMT, so hopefully you can join me for that. And also you can go into the socials. You can go to X, formerly Twitter. You can go to the Facebook page, you can go to Patreon, you can also go to Instagram, but you have the YouTube community tab as well, so check out all those different links, and the links are in the description and also at the end of the video. But until then guys, until Wednesday, I will see you then, and yeah, thanks so much for watching, and you know what, I will see you later.